Do you have to give up carbs, sugar, and all your favorite foods to lose weight? Well, watch this video because it may not be what you think. Hey, it's Becky Fox here at Team Criticalbench, and today I want to talk about why you don't actually have to give up all the favorite foods that you love in order to lose weight. Actually having them in your diet can help keep you on track. So here's the thing, most diets out there can work temporarily, right? So you hop on this low carb, low sugar, eat all the perfect foods type diet, and yes, you may lose some weight initially, but many of these diets are super hard to stick to. So you may stick to it for a week or 4 weeks or even a couple months. But for most people, this has an end date and a shelf life because let's get real, this is super overwhelming. There's usually a list of, hundreds of diet rules that you have to follow. And over time, well, you start to miss having a piece of cake or maybe going out for a cheeseburger or having some of these foods that you enjoy. So it becomes impossible to keep going with this diet plan. And this is a downfall of many of those diets out there and why I don't often suggest that people give up everything they love, because what happens in the end? I know for me, I would go on this diet for say 12 weeks and not only would I give up those foods, but as soon as I went off that diet, oh my gosh, I would binge eat like these foods like crazy. So it can actually even lead us to go further off track, gain more weight back in the long run because we feel so deprived from giving up these foods that we end up eating too much of them in the long run and gaining all that weight back. So here's a few of the problems of giving up all the foods that you love. So if you like to have a cookie once in a while, if you like to have a piece of toast with your breakfast, if you like to splurge once in a while and have a cheeseburger, it's totally okay and it can help you stay on track. The first challenge is when we have this all or nothing mindset, right? We're either on or we're off. We're either doing it perfectly or we're not doing perfectly. And what happens a lot of times when we feel like we have to do things perfectly, we feel like we have to give up all the things, right? All the sugar and all the carbs and all of our favorite foods. But the problem with this is that when we feel like we have to be perfect, well, we're human. We're not going to be perfect all the time. That's a really unrealistic goal. And it also leads to this all or nothing thinking, which is this kind of idea of like, okay, let's say it's Friday, okay? You went out and you had that cheeseburger. Clearly I want a cheeseburger. I keep talking about it here in this video. So we go out, we have that cheeseburger and we have too many fries and we eat the whole burger and we're stuffed and we feel like, you know what? I already ruined everything. I totally messed it all up. So we go off the rails for the entire weekend because guess what? We're gonna start over again on Monday. So putting this kind of pressure on us often leads us to just kind of want to turn our brain off and just eat everything in sight. So we undo a lot of hard work and we tend to overeat, whereas if we had more balance, which I'll talk about here in just a second, it actually helps us to stay on track and eat less over time. All right, the second problem with giving up all the things we love is we tend to put certain foods up on a pedestal. And that means we put them up here where, they kind of have this elusiveness that, we can't have them. Well, you know what happens when we tell ourselves we can't have something? We tend to want it even more. So this becomes problematic because those foods that we were told we can't have, the crunchy chips or the creamy chocolate becomes even something we want even more, and it gets harder and harder to fight that craving. So we end up caving in and then going off track. Lastly, if we want to lose the weight and keep it off, we have to do something that's sustainable. Yes, we can all be great for a couple weeks or a couple months, but when that becomes too difficult to stick to, it's really easy to fall back into old habits. And by making something sustainable, it has to be enjoyable on some level. I don't know about you, but I don't want to just eat chicken and plain broccoli and never have my favorite foods again, like chocolate or French fries or pizza and things like that. I know that to me, that's not enjoyable. I've been there and I've done that, and it was not a fun way to live. So if you want to lose weight, this is an ongoing journey. It has to be something that we look forward to. We have to include foods that we actually like and enjoy if we want this to be something that we end up doing in the long run. All right, now I know it's scary to think about, okay, so you're telling me I can actually have these things I love, but oh my gosh, am I gonna balloon up? Am I gonna gain a bunch of weight? Isn't this gonna take me off track? And I'm here to tell you that it's not, okay? We wanna do it in a way that still helps us to reach our goals. So we don't wanna go crazy and just eat it for every meal fulfilled. That's not what I'm saying here. But we want to find a way to do it so that we can still move towards our goals, feel good about it, and never feel restricted and never feel deprived. And there's a couple ways that we can do that. All right, so the first thing you're gonna wanna do is take that food down off the pedestal. Now, what I mean by this is we wanna make it less elusive. So think about a kid. When you tell a little kid they can't do something, right? Okay, you can't have that or you can't do that. Well, you know what happens. They wanna do it even more. They're willing to sneak behind your back to do whatever that thing is that you told them not to do often. And we're exactly the same way. The more we make something we can't have it, the more we put it up on this pedestal, the more we're going to want it. So when we take it down and we tell ourselves, hey, you know what, we can have it. We can have it whenever we want. We naturally tend to want it even less. It doesn't have such the allure that it had before. So we will naturally eat less of it. I know it's a scary idea and it's like, I don't know about that, but I've seen it time and time again with many of the women that I've worked with. So it really does help to take it down off that pedestal and just see it as food. It's nothing special. We can have it when we want and it's there whenever we want to enjoy it. The second key is having foods in moderation. Now, you've probably heard this before and you're not exactly sure what it means, and it can look like a lot of different things for a lot of people, right? So when we allow ourselves to maybe have a few bites of something that we love every day, it never gets us to the place where we start to feel deprived from having that food. So every day at lunch, I'll have a few bites of a chocolate bar, and that just helps with my chocolate craving, and it keeps me from doing the opposite, which is where if I don't have chocolate and I try to deprive myself of chocolate, the next thing I know, I'm binging on a whole bag of cookies, which yes, I've totally done that before. So by including these foods into our week strategically, we actually get that fulfillment, that enjoyment, that satisfaction from the foods that we're eating. So we're more likely to stay on track and less likely to overeat them and go off track on the weekends. All right, and the last piece is satisfaction. So that kind of ties into moderation as well. So I have that chocolate after my lunch because it's satisfying, okay? If we're constantly trying to eat foods that taste like cardboard, right, or have no flavor to them and we're never getting in the things that we love, we're not gonna feel satisfied. And any kind of diet or program that we stick to that's not satisfying is gonna be really tough to continue to stick to for the long run. And if we want sustainable results, we have to do stuff that we can stick to in the long run. So satisfaction is incorporating things into your day, even into your meals that give you that delicious, yummy taste. It might be texture as well, right? So sprinkling a little bit of cheese on your salad is A-okay. A, if it gets you eating more vegetables, and B, if it gets you eating that salad. So we want to also to keep in mind like textures of food, taste of foods, things that we love, and having a little bit of it sprinkled in here and there is actually going to help you to stay on track with the foods that you're eating. All right, so if you want more tips on how to eat in a way that helps you lose the weight, be sure to check out our Tame Your Cravings guide. You can grab that in the pinned comment below. Hit that like button, subscribe, make sure to check out the other videos in this myth busting series to get a well-rounded idea of all the different myths that are out there so that you can be successful on your journey. And of course, thanks for watching.